I know. I know. All right, folks, we'll go ahead and get started. My apologies, we were having some technical difficulties in the opener here. Again, good morning, and thank you for joining us for our monthly LEA Special Education POC webinar. My name is LaShonda Wilson, and I am an Education Program Specialist on the IDEA monitoring team here at OSSE. All right, on our agenda today, we'll start with an introduction, then move to policy reminders and updates, IDEA monitoring reminders and updates, special populations assessment updates, non-public placement updates, hot off the press, and finally we'll conclude with reminders and announcements. All right, again, good morning. And for those of you joining us for the first time, every month OSSE hosts this monthly webinar to bring our LEA SPED POCs the most important information, which is central to your work. We hope you find it helpful and look forward to your future participation. I'll turn it over now to Christy Reaver-Harris for policy reminders and updates. Christy?
Good morning, everybody. This is Christy Reaver-Harris. I'm the Policy Manager in OSSE's Division of K-12 Systems and Supports in the Office of Special Education. As a reminder, on July 1, the new special education regulations went into effect. You can review the new regulations on our Law and Regulations page. We have them there in a PDF, which is easier to read than on the DC website. We also have a Chapter 3 resources page, which right now has disability worksheets and lots of recorded video trainings on new requirements under Chapter 30, including an overview training, individual modules on each disability category. We're going to be posting a video on seclusion and restraint requirements, so we're going to be hosting some live trainings on that soon too, as there is an obligation for LEAs to develop a seclusion and restraint policy by July 1, 2023. So all of the trainings that are up there right now are recorded webinars that are presented through GoToWebinar and include a short post-training survey that I would really appreciate if you could complete it. And if you ever have any questions about Chapter 30 or need for additional resources or trainings or technical assistance around Chapter 30, please feel free to reach out to me directly, as my team is working to develop a larger suite of resources to support your implementation of these new regulations. Next slide. I think that's all I have today. Yep.
All right, thank you, Christy. Moving right along, we'll turn it over to Karen Morgan-Donaldson now for IDEA monitoring reminders and updates. Karen?
Thank you, LaShonda. Hi, good morning, everybody. Again, my name is Karen Morgan-Donaldson, and I'm the manager of IDEA monitoring and compliance here at OSSE. I just have a few slides for you. If we could move on to the next slide, please. So as the state agency, OSSE is required to serve as the ex officio trustee to assist in providing materials for students with visual impairments. Each year, Congress appropriates funds to American Printing House, we also refer to it as APH, to conduct an annual census of students with visual impairments in the district, and also to provide materials for those students. So this is just an all call if you have a student that qualifies as having a visual impairment, either as their primary disability or as part of a multiple disability. If you could please contact us and let us know, and we will walk you through the process to make sure that that student is counted in the census and therefore also receives materials. So again, if you could please contact specifically Dana Hodges, and her email is listed here, by February 24th, we would appreciate that. Thank you. Next slide. IDEA monitoring team is facilitating a secondary transition requirements webinar. So this is a technical assistance session that will take place Wednesday, January 25th from 10 to 11 a.m. We are encouraging all special education practitioners involved in the secondary transition plan writing process to attend, but especially new practitioners to this role. So a link to the training is available here on the slide, so you can actually find it and click on it in the PDF version of the presentation, which LaShonda mentioned at the beginning of the presentation can be found under the handout section. If you have any questions specific to this training, please reach out to LaShonda Wilson. Next slide, please. So this slide should look familiar, but it provides information about which compliance reports are currently open in DC CATS. So please note that when you look under the prong 1 column, all reports are past due for prong 1. So if you have not completed prong 1 for any open reports, please do so. So we are directing all LEAs to please log into your DC CATS account and review your open reports. One additional thing to note in this slide here is that for the year, different reports live in different years in the DC CATS system. So some older reports, you'll notice, reevaluation and secondary transition, are listed under school year 21-22 in the system. And so that would require you to change the date in the upper right-hand corner of the dashboard page in your DC CATS account. If you have any questions about your open reports in DC CATS, please contact your IDEA OSSE monitor, Deborah Melville. Also, a quick note, Deborah Melville often reaches out to LEAs to support with closing these reports. So please keep a lookout for emails, phone calls from her, and we ask that you are responsive to her communications. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions about any of the slides I presented, you can put them in the questions section of GoToWebinar, and I will go ahead and take a look at them now. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. We appreciate that. And with that, we're going to go ahead and review some special populations assessment updates. Bear with me as I'll be presenting the information on behalf of our data assessment and research team. Your immediate POC for this information will be Assad Fulton. His information will be contained at the end of this presentation in your appendix. So if you have any further questions in relation to the information that is going to follow, please be sure to follow up with Assad Fulton. First off, here are the testing windows for the 2022-23 statewide testing window. In terms of access for ELs, those will run from February 13th to March 24th, 2023. For the NAEP, those will run from March 20th to April 14th, 2023. And the MSAA and DLM will run from March 13th to April 28th, 2023. Park and DC Science, the online testing portion will run from April 3rd to May 26, 2023, and the paper testing accommodations only section will run from April 3rd to May 19th, 2023. Here you'll see just a snapshot of the calendar to help you kind of mark off the actual windows themselves. It's another view of information on the previous slide for any of our visual learners and processors. If you print this slide in grayscale, it should be interpretable. Note that the February break is not included. It is a common break on this calendar, so if you have additional school breaks, you may want to add them to your calendar before sharing this with your teams. Okay, next we'll have alternate assessment eligibility determinations and appeals. Again, for this information, Assad Fulton is your POC for assessment-specific administration guidance. The alternate assessment eligibility determinations. So final decisions for the 2022-23 alternate assessment participation was made available in SEDS and QuickBase on Monday, January 9th, 2023. Approved determinations for students will continue annually as long as that student is enrolled in a DC public or charter school. If you have any questions about decisions, please reach out to Assad Fulton directly. In terms of access and alternate access for ELLs, assessment-specific administration guidance as well. In preparing for access administration, training courses need to be completed through the WIDA secure portal. If you're returning TC or TA involved with access for ELLs, paper, K-access, and alt access, you will only need to retake the speaking scoring training course and its corresponding quiz every year. Test coordinators who also serve as the test administrator must complete all required trainings. It is recommended these courses be completed by the Friday before administration, February 10th, but you can start them as soon as you are ready. The courses are available to start now. There is not a separate training course. If you are taking just the online grades 1 through 12 speaking domain, you can access this section through the online grade 1 through 12 course. And lastly, you have here a checklist to help you keep track of any items you'll need to take action on prior to access administration. Please note that the access trainings are for new coordinators and admins. Moving on to the multi-state alternate assessment. Should you need support with accommodations for your students in relation to access, alt access, or for the pre-ID file, please first use the testing accommodations guide available on the OSSE website. We also call these guides the tags, part 0, 1, and 2. OSSE recommends reading through these guides completely. Please follow up with Assad Fulton with any questions upon your completion of the review of these guides or with any questions. And lastly, there is an upcoming training. The MSAA administration is approaching. So new MSAA and DLMTC and TAS are required to register and attend this training. The training will be held on Wednesday, February 1st, 2023 from 1 to 2:30 p.m. Anyone interested in registering, please click on the link, register to attend. And if you have any questions, again, please be sure to drop those in the chat. We unfortunately were unable to have Assad Fulton here today, but we will be sure to make sure that those questions get to him and those questions get answered. Also, please do not hesitate to reach out directly. And again, his contact information is contained in the appendix section of this presentation. Moving on now, I'll pitch it over to Katie Rita for non-public placement updates. Katie?
Lauren, can you have the next slide? Thank you. This is just a general reminder. We had some trainings back in November, and then I had open office hours for the last month or so, but we're implementing the updates to the non-public placement process, where we will be including an IEP meeting prior to student placement and a non-public school. Everyone has my contact information there. LaShawna, will you go to the next slide? So it's just an overview and a reminder. This will be implemented for any new cases that have been submitted to OSSE as of January 1st of this year. If you're closing out an old case that was submitted before the first of the year, we'll still follow our normal process. But this is just a reminder that once the school has been selected, OSSE will notify the LEA and the parent, and as well as a non-public school, that an IEP meeting needs to be held before we can issue our notice of service location. If for some reason you didn't attend the trainings or any of the office hours I've had over the last month and a half, feel free to send me an email and we can get in touch. But this is in effect now, so please, make sure that you're prepared and ready to go to start holding these IEP meetings before OSSE issues a service location to the non-public school. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out, but this is just a general reminder that this is now happening. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. And moving on, in terms of hot off the press, just a reminder, we introduced a new section to our monthly webinar last month. Any pertinent information that we receive at the 11th hour, so for instance, if we receive it the same day as our monthly webinar broadcast, we'll be sure to provide you all with that information during our hot off the press review. So stay tuned for any further bulletins in this section. We anticipate that will be the case in the coming months. All right, and with that, we'll move over to reminders and announcements. And first up, we've got Karen Morgan Donaldson to review special education law training modules information.
Thank you, LaShonda. So we've presented this slide a few times, but just as a quick overview, in collaboration with LRP, OSSE is providing free special education law training modules to all LEAs. I also wanted to note that they recently added a new course to the modules, and it's on conducting appropriate and compliant threat assessments for students with disabilities. And again, as a quick overview, these courses are online, they're self-paced, and they're available and appropriate for any of your staff. So the trainings cover a wide variety of topics, from behavior to disability-specific information. So we really encourage you to take a look and think about how you can incorporate this really helpful resource into your LEA's professional development in the area of special education. So we encourage LEAs to utilize this resource to grow special education team members that already maybe have background in special ed, maybe build capacity for general education teachers, also paraprofessionals. Please note there are paraprofessional specific trainings available on IDEA regulations in these modules. Next slide. Another collaboration with LRP, OSSE is providing a tutorial on special education connection. We will be scheduling a tutorial for special ed or for LEAs to take, so please stay tuned. You will receive information about that in the LEA Look Forward. But Special Ed Connection is a platform that provides users with special education specific federal statutes and regulations, gives you case law, federal policies and news from across the US related to IDEA. So it's very, very current. Participants will learn how to best access information in this upcoming training within the platform in order to apply it to real world situations within your LEA. So again, stay tuned. This session is for LEA special education points of contact. And that's all I have in terms of IDEA monitoring updates.
Okay, we have the Foundations of Special Education information to be presented by Anika.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for your patience while I toggle all of these buttons. OSSE is pleased to share this opportunity, Foundations of Special Education, Skill Building Opportunities for DC Educators. This is available to all educators, especially those in general education settings who serve students with disabilities. The opportunities are also available to those serving in special education who are looking to increase skills and knowledge. This is a great course for administrators as well and service providers. It's a completely asynchronous learning opportunity hosted in OSSE's new learning management system. I will drop a link in the chat box so that you can visit the website dedicated to these opportunities to learn more and fill out an interest form. Some of you may have experienced a slight delay in configuring the LMS accounts for DC educators. We anticipate that LMS access issues will be resolved by the end of the month for those few lingering issues. So please do visit the website. I'm about to drop the link in the chat and reach out to the point of contact who's listed on the page, OSSE's own Stephen Hamlin. Thank you.
Thank you, Anika. All right, and then next up we have Early Childhood Working Group information from Dawn Hilton.
Good morning. This is just a reminder that the Early Childhood Working Group will be holding its 4th session, Early Childhood Transition Policy and Guidance, on Wednesday, February 1st, from 10 o'clock to 11:30. If you have not done so, please register using the link on your screen. And if you have any specific questions, you may contact me directly. Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. All right, if you happen to miss a webinar, please visit our LEA SPED POC webinar series webpage. You can watch previous webinars and download training resources and materials. A recording of this webinar and slides will be posted to the webpage within 1 week of the live webinar. And for our next scheduled webinar, we'll be meeting again Wednesday, February 15th, 2023. For anyone wishing to be added to the monthly webinar series for participation, you can visit the link here to be added to the participant invitation list. Finally, we ask that you take a moment to complete the survey. Your feedback is really important to us as it helps us plan from month to month around topics of interest that you may find most helpful. You can scan the QR code here using your cell phone camera or click the link to complete the survey. We'll take just a few moments here to review questions that may have come through our chat here before we close out.
Hey everybody, I've been monitoring the chat and I've seen quite a few requests for links. When we post the PowerPoint on the website, we'll be sure to post it in a format that includes the links. We didn't realize that the notes format of this that's currently posted in the handouts removes the links from the slides. So we'll fix that when we post it to the website. So all those links will be live for you. But if you do want a link in the meantime, let me know and I can either post it in the questions box or in the chat. There's been a few that I've tried to post. We've tried to post in both places. Let me look through really quick. Most of your questions were about links. Oh, somebody asked if we could receive updates on the transition from SEDS to special programs, which will occur this summer. We will share updates as they are available. We know that people are itching for information about that, so we'll do our best to share information as it becomes available. Right now, we don't have any updates for you other than we do expect to transition to the new system over this summer. So for your LEA should transition prior to the beginning of the 23-24 school year.
Okay, were there any other questions? Okay, if there are no other questions, I definitely encourage any folks, if you have any other lingering questions, please be sure to take a look at the appendix section at the end of this presentation, where it has each of the immediate POCs for various areas, whether it's an early childhood question or a question specifically for our IDEA monitoring team. Please do not hesitate to reach out to us or any of the POCs that are listed in the appendix section.
I want to make a note really quick for folks. A lot of people are asking for the registration for the Early Childhood Working Group. If you registered through GoToMeeting to begin with at the beginning of the year, it should have registered you for all of the meetings. And I know that there's a couple of you that regularly attend this, and I'll take a look at the registration to make sure that you're there, and I'll add you if you're not. Also, please note around the early childhood working group, we do have registration through GoToWebinar because it allows you to register for multiple months at once. But we will end up having that meeting over Teams. So you will receive an email from me prior to that meeting saying, hey, please use this Teams link instead. Just an FYI that we do hold those meetings over Teams, not in the GoToMeeting platform.
Thank you, Christy. Anything else? Okay. I think if there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and move to conclude this session. Folks, we'd like to thank each and every one of you all for joining us today. Again, as Christy mentioned, if you have any specific questions, please be sure to follow up with us. And otherwise, we will see you all next month. Thank you.